What's up, guys? How are you?
We are good. Well, what a weird week we've got here. Big win for the Jags. They found a way to win a game. Now you go and play without Brian Thomas Jr., we found out today. Travis Hunter, we've known. Brenton Strange, we've known. De'Ami Brown's healthy, but he hasn't done much. So you go out and get a receiver from the Raiders who, my guess is, suddenly plays a prominent role Sunday. Boy, just an unusual circumstance for the Jags, isn't it, Pete?
It really is. I mean, but you know what? You look across the league, take a look at the team they're playing this week and look at their injuries.
Right.
I mean, they don't have their quarterback. They don't have Titus Howard now. Petrie's out with a concussion. Ed Ingram's banged up and might not go. And, I mean, across the board, the whole league, it's a survival test. It's getting more and more that way every year. And Jacksonville's no different. But, look, Myers, they had to do something. They went out and got the guy. He's a pro's pro. He can go over the middle. He's not afraid to go over the middle. He can catch everything thrown his way. He doesn't drop a lot of passes. So, he's going to be featured prominently in the offense this week.
Pete, how good do you think Davis Mills can play for Houston?
I liked him coming out a lot, to be honest with you. I thought he would be a decent, starter, back, lower-level starter or backup. And he's capable. He went in last week and made some nice throws against a good Denver defense. So he's capable. They got to protect him, though. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I know Jacksonville hasn't rushed the passer very well. But if Howard's not there and Ingram's not there, and Ingram surprisingly has been their best offensive lineman, then all of a sudden you have problems, even more problems on that offensive line. So if he's protected, I think he can hit some shots down the field. It's never going to be pretty. It's never going to be a rhythm, but he can make some throws down the field.
Pete, they are, say what you want about them, the season they're having and their offense, they're really good on defense. Those two pass rushers are really good. The cornerbacks are really good. The linebackers play downhill. Is that the kind of game we're getting? Are we looking at, it was 10-7 last night. Are we looking at 17-14 Sunday in Houston? Is that what those your expectations?
I would think so. I would think so. Yeah, I definitely would think so. I think this is one of those games where you got to run the football. And remember, they ran the football in the second half last time against them. They did a nice job with it. So I think they can run the football on them. And ideally, that's what you want to do. You got to be able to run the ball and take, those pass rushers and try to neutralize them a little bit. Because if those guys can pin their ears back and go, you got big problems. And they're really good at looping and stunning. And Jacksonville's had problems with that, throughout the year. So, yeah, I would anticipate a lower scoring game. I would anticipate a lot of running early in the game to try and get keep those guys from pinning their ears back and going.
What does it mean for the Jaguars, Pete, in your opinion, if they win? What does it say about them? And if Houston loses, is their season pretty much over, in your opinion?
Yeah, and you look at their schedule, I think their schedule's brutal the rest of the way. I mean, if they don't win this game, I think this is the death blow for the Texans if they don't win. I really believe that. I mean, the schedule gets really tough, and they've navigated through a bunch of injuries and all year long. But if they don't win this game, I think they're done. And as far as Jaguars' schedule, it's favorable. I mean, you compared to what the Colts have to deal with the second part of the season, you get them. You still got to get them twice. And so I do think this is every bit an opportunity to go in there. If you beat the Texans and you can beat the Chargers next week, I think all of a sudden you look around and you say you're smack dab in the middle of the race. And by the way, at 5-3, if down the stretch they can win 5 more games, which is entirely doable, they're going to be not only in the division race, they're going to be in the race for the wild card. So I think it's highly possible. Even though they didn't look good last week, it wasn't a pretty game. It was ugly, as a matter of fact. But when you look at what the Raiders did last night, maybe that wasn't as bad a performance as we thought it was.
Here's the other thing, too. Let me get your thoughts on this. The Texans have been around for 20-plus, however many years, 24, 25 years. The Jags have only swept them 2 times. This will be the 3rd time they ever swept them. And the Texans have dominated the Jags. They've won 12 of the last 15. I get the sense, and I'm not maybe I'm reaching here, Pete, but if you sweep the Texans in this first year of the new regime, and you've gotten to 6-3, and you've played a hard schedule, boy, I think there's some confidence that will come out of this. Not just where you stand mathematically in the standings, but I think there's some. You could gain some juice by winning this game. Do you feel that way too?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any question about this. This is the kind of game, if you go in there and win, and I know they're playing with the backup quarterback, but you still go into their place against that defense. You go in there and win. It gives you the confidence, and then you go play the Chargers, and they're banged up on the offensive line. I mean, you lose your two top tackles, and you can go get them the following week. So, yeah, I do. I think they can build on it if they can get it done. I mean, it's not going to be easy. You can't make those dumb mistakes. I mean, Trevor Lawrence's mistake on the goal line was awful last week, and he can't have that. You gotta minimize those. You're not gonna win games like this.
DeForest Buckner going on IR for the Colts. What kind of a blow is that for Indianapolis's defense?
Big. I mean, the guy's a force in the middle of that defense. He's good against the run. He can push the pocket when he rushes the passer. Everybody's looking for a guy like that on defense. He's what Armstead isn't. I mean, to be honest about it, I mean, they both played on the 49ers defense back in the day, and Buckner's much better, and that shows up. So not having him for a length of time, and it's 4 weeks supposedly, but you know what? That's a neck injury. You never know with that. So yeah, that's a damning blow to them, and that's a team, by the way, that showed a little desperation at the trade deadline. You go give up 2 1s for Sauce Gardner. I mean, that tells you they're all in large part because they haven't won the damn division since Andrew Luck was there. I mean, each team in the division has won it twice since the Colts have won it. And I think Chris Ballard's feeling the heat, so he made the move because he knows he has to get into the postseason to probably save his job.
What did you think of the whole deadline? You certainly told us what you think of the Colts, but all of it, Quinnen Williams moving and all the stuff the Cowboys did. And, I mean, it felt like baseball this time, didn't it? It felt like, I mean, usually the trade deadline in football is kind of boring. What did you think overall? Winners, losers, the whole bit. What stood out to you?
I think this is going to be the way it goes from now on out, because if you're not a team that can compete, and there aren't many of them, you're gonna probably have a fire sale. But if they're a team that's on the cusp of competing, you go get guys because you think all of a sudden I'm there. And Jacksonville's a perfect example. If they had one victory, they wouldn't have made a move to go get Myers. But now that you look at it and you go, okay, well they're in the mix, so why not go make the move? So I think that's where we are. And teams know that, and there's also the desperation of the staffs and the front offices. You got to win quicker now than you ever used to have to win. So I think that's all in play, and that's why I think this is going to be more of a trend than not going forward.
Pete, looking at next week's opponent for the Jaguars, the LA Chargers, they lose Joe Alt. Obviously, Slater has been out all year. He got injured in camp, but we've seen the Chargers without Alt. And it's a horror show. How will LA keep Justin Herbert healthy now?
That's a good question. And the other part of that is the ideal way to keep him healthy is to have a run game to kind of take the pressure off of him, and they have not. I mean, that's the Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman way, and they haven't run the ball. Hampton got hurt. They haven't really, other than when they play Miami, but everybody runs on Miami, they haven't run the football well enough. So I think that's something to keep an eye on going forward. And defensively, they've had lapses, and particularly in the secondary. So they're one of those teams you look at them and you go, yeah, they look good at moments, but how good are they? And they have to start getting it going a little bit.
Pete, if I told you before the season that the 3 teams that would be dominating or close to dominating the AFC were the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Colts, you told me I lost my mind. What has caused this, and which of those teams will the clock strike midnight the soonest?
Well, I mean, Denver might be the worst 8-2 team I've ever seen in terms of offensive football.
Right.
I mean, they're really good on defense. We know that, but my gosh, they're bad on offense. I mean, they can't really run it that well. Bo Nix looks lost. Even Sean Payton can't get out of his own way calling bad plays in certain situations, like the 3rd and 1 last night. That was terrible when he threw that reverse pass. And so I think when you look at it, I think they're kind of an 8-2 team that's going to be in the playoffs, but are they any good? New England has feasted on a bad schedule. I think that's helped them a great deal. But they'll have a prove-it game this week at Tampa. And then, who's the other? Oh, the Colts. I mean, they've also feasted on a bad schedule. So we'll know more about them in the next, 4 or 5 weeks. They play, Atlanta's not great, but it's not going to be an easy game on the road. And then they also have Kansas City coming up. So we'll know more about them in the coming weeks, too.
Who do you like in the New England at Tampa Bay game?
The Bucks. If they get Gedeke back this week, which I think they will at right tackle, that solidifies an offensive line that hasn't been up to snuff this year. And once they haven't had their guys all year. And once they get that group healthy I think Baker's going to be even better. They can run the ball. Bucky Irvin's still not back, but they have enough around Baker that they can still make plays down the field. So I like Tampa this week. I think that team's good. I think people have underestimated Tampa. They've kind of gone through a bunch of injuries like everybody else has, but they've found themselves coming off this bye. I think they have a good situation to beat the Patriots.
Defensive-minded game in Houston. Pete, who wins, Jags or Texans?
I think Jacksonville wins that game. Initially, if Stroud had played, I probably would have picked the Texans, but I think that's a game Jacksonville needs to go in there, run the ball, keep the score down, and find a way to win that game. And don't allow those pass rushers to turn you over in the short fields for easy touchdowns.
Pete Prisco checking in from CBSSports.com, brought to you by Showtime Sports Cars and Collectibles. Pete, thanks, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Hey, y'all. Lauren Brooks here. Thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and check out all of our great videos and channels on the 1010XL network.